Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at an excellent book which I found fascinating to read. It's from Edward Elgar Publishing Limited. They're an independent publishing company based in Cheltenham. They have produced a very large number of really excellent top-of-the-range scholastic works for us, which are of great benefit to the academic community and also to the legal profession. They obviously publish other books in other areas, but I only deal with legal works. And I'm looking today at a corporate book. It's called Human Rights and Corporate Wrongs. Very suitable topic for the 21st century. Human Rights and Corporate Wrongs. It's got a subtitle, Closing the Governance Gap. It's been written by Simon Borgen. Now, it's part of the Elgar series on corporations, globalisation and the law, and it's available as a hardback and an e-book. Elizabeth and I talked about the book, and for our review, which will be on the web and in the journals, we've given it a review title, A Great New Resource Covering Business and Human Rights with a Comprehensive Analysis of Case Law, which is what he's produced. Simon's produced this work, and I think it's a very interesting book to read. It's not a big one. It's a hardback. You see that there. There is the actual spine, and then you've got the back of the book there. You see it's Corporations, Globalisation and the Law. So that's the series. Let's look at the back of the book first. It's 260 odd pages. The index at the back refers to page numbering. So that does assist. There's the start of the index, and then you see the end of the book itself. You've got a lot of footnoting, and then what you do have is a very useful conclusion chapter right at the end of the book. Now, at the front of the book, this is the series, Corporations, Globalisation and the Law, the series itself, all that detail, and that's the front page of the book. Now, we've then got the contents. Do read the introduction, because that will give you some idea of where Simon is coming from. There are 9 chapters in total, eight plus a conclusion. Then you've got the authorities cited, and they're cited by country. So, for instance, the United Kingdom is listed separately, and then US of A, United States of America, of course, and so forth. Then you've got international cases, because this is a wide jurisdiction book, various preliminary authorities. Then you've also got such things as codes, articles, various other things, depending on what you're actually looking for. Then the introduction starts. He starts the spread of globalisation towards the end of the 20th century led to the rise of the transnational corporation. I'm going to quote that again probably later on, but you can see immediately where we're coming from. Footnotes at the bottom, subheads which you can see used, and as I say, there are some subheads with numbers, and quite a lot of quotes from time to time, depending on who he's actually citing and what point he's actually making. Very interesting book. Let me talk a little bit, without giving too much away, about why I think the book's worth reading, and certainly I think of general readership material for quite a wide audience today. What we says is the world of human rights grows apace, with a range of new titles now available for professionals and advisors at all levels. Now, Edward Elgar never disappoints us with their new series of titles, and this covers, in this instance, corporations, globalisation and the law. And it's very much a core area for us in the 21st century. So we welcome the new book from Simon Borgen, who comes from the Institute of International Shipping and Trade Law, based at Swansea University's College of Law and Criminology. And the title, as I say, is Human Rights and Corporate Wrongs, Closing the Governance Gap. So he's tried to limit exactly where he's going with this, because it is actually a very wide field. But he's done a lot of research. So the outcome of Borgen's careful and scholastic study is an examination of the effects of globalisation linked together with the increase in foreign investment and resource development covering the developing world. The conclusions, he says, have created a context for human rights abuses by states in which transnational corporations are complicit, which forms, of course, the main mission of this thesis and its model approach, which Simon has adopted. And it's clearly a timely title of benefit to a wide readership, which readers at many levels, I think, will find an absorbing read. The author investigates how these governance gaps, as he calls them, are described, and and have been identified by Professor John Ruggie, and basically how they may be closed, which is really what we're looking at here. Borgen then examines the status of corporations under international law, the civil liability of corporations for their participation in international crimes, and self-regulation through voluntary codes of conduct, including the most important one, the 2011 United Nations Guiding Principles. Now, at the front of the book you will find the list of all the relevant principles. These are the authorities internationally. So it's not listed in the same way as a standard England and Wales law book, if you like, but you will find the references and the cross-references quite easy to obtain. So this book covers an in-depth analysis of all the key legal issues which require investigation, and it examines a variety of immediate hard issues, including the Alien Tort Statute litigation against transnational corporations in the USA, the use of customary international law as a cause of action in jurisdictions outside America, and tort litigation against transnational corporations in both America and Britain. Again, interesting, because we are very much now part of a global community, which I do hope certain people, as we get to the referendum, will realise, because it is in fact a very important aspect of how we conduct any form of affair, whether it's inside or outside the EU or whatever. The fact is we have to recognise that. The law is, and we've got to catch up with it. And this book and the series from Elgar, I do think, help the debate along very well indeed. What Borgen's offering here also is an excellent evaluation of how governance gaps may be closed, which is his primary motivation, I suggest. He describes the process as building on a critical analysis of the place of home states, host states and TNCs under international law, and the UN guiding principles and other soft law initiatives, with detailed academic coverage for those wishing for a deeper exploration. And as I've said right at the beginning, Elgar do produce a high style here and a high quality of content and argument, and that's what you're getting with this series. Let me conclude, as Elgar says, with these comments. The book is essential reading for postgraduate students and academics in human rights and corporate governance, certainly master's level. We feel it also gives comprehensive insights for practitioners involved in the different types of non-governmental organisations. The author's final comment gives us all some pause for thought. Quote, "Corporate human rights policies and non-legal grievance mechanisms on their own will not be enough to close the government gap." So there you have it. That statement, I think, is enough for a sequel. I just leave you with that. Thank you very much, Simon. Now I'm going to leave you with that point because I think it's an important one. Let's have a quick look at the book again. There it is. That's the spine, and then there's the back. It's a very interesting book, as I say. It's a detailed book. I don't think it's the easiest book to read. There is quite a lot of information. I'm stoking it up in the middle. Got a lot of footnoting. It's not the easiest book in the world to read. You've got to have quite a lot of knowledge, which is why I'm saying it's not undergraduate. It's certainly postgraduate material. There's another information there, and just go to the back again. You've got the index, which is there, and then at the front you've got quite a substantial amount of authorities. I've been very pleased with this book. As I say, we've reviewed over the years a number of Elgar publications. This is another very good one from them. I'd like to thank everybody concerned for producing it. It does help us with what we do, whether academically or in as terms as practitioners. It's useful as a persuasive influence, certainly in our practices. Thank you to all concerned. Bye-bye.